I got a voicemail from my wife. She died 10 years ago. When the first voicemail came, I was in the middle of eating dinner, mindlessly flipping through the news on TV. The screen on my phone lit up, and I barely noticed it. Spam calls were part of my daily routine. But this time, it wasn't a scam. It was a voicemail from a number I hadn't seen in over a decade. It was from her. "Hi, it's me. I know this is going to sound strange, but I need you to listen carefully. You can't trust him." The voice was unmistakable. It was Lauren, my wife, the woman I buried 10 years ago. I dropped my fork, the clatter making me jump. For a second, I thought maybe it was a prank, some cruel scammer who'd found her voice on old videos I'd foolishly uploaded to social media. But then I listened again. There was something about the way she spoke, the cadence, the inflection, the breathiness at the end of her words. It wasn't just Lauren's voice. It was her. She'd been dead for 10 years. Lauren had been my everything. When she died, I was a husk of myself, wandering through days I can barely recall. A car accident took her from me, quick and brutal. The driver was never found. And now, her voice. It was impossible. The voicemail was time-stamped only a minute before I played it, and when I tried to call the number back, it rang to nothingness. No dial tone, no voicemail box, just an endless void. I listened to the message again and again, the words embedding themselves into my mind. You can't trust him. Who? Trust who? What was she warning me about? The next day at work, I was distracted. Every buzz of my phone made me jump. Every voice in the office sounded like hers. By lunchtime, I couldn't take it anymore and drove home. I needed to listen to it again, maybe find something I'd missed. But the message was gone. Not deleted, just gone, as though it had never existed. No call log, no voicemail history. My heart sank. Maybe I was losing it. Maybe grief had crept back in, a decade late, gnawing at my sanity. That's when the second voicemail came. "You need to get out of the house. He's watching." I froze. My heart thundered as I glanced around my living room. It was daylight, the sun streaming in through the windows. Nothing seemed out of place, but the sense of being watched was suffocating. I grabbed my keys and bolted. I drove aimlessly for hours, Lauren's voice playing over and over in my head. By the time I returned home, it was dark, and the house felt different. The air was heavy, charged, like the moments before a thunderstorm. And then I noticed the picture frame on the mantel. It was Lauren's favorite photo of us, taken on our honeymoon. I'd smashed it years ago in a fit of grief, the shards of glass long since swept away. But now it was back, whole, perfect. I was shaking as I approached it. My breath caught when I saw the note tucked behind the frame. "He's in the basement." Adrenaline surged as I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and crept down the stairs. The basement was cold and damp, the single bulb casting long, eerie shadows. At first, I saw nothing, just old boxes and a faint smell of mildew. But then I noticed the corner. The shadows didn't line up. I stepped closer, my breath hitching. The air seemed to hum, and for a second, I thought I heard whispering. When I reached the corner, I found nothing but a mirror. It hadn't been there before. The reflection wasn't mine. Lauren's face stared back at me, her eyes wide with terror. Her lips moved silently, forming words I couldn't hear. My knees buckled as the mirror seemed to ripple, the glass warping as though she was pressing against it from the other side. Then the whispers started. I bolted, slamming the basement door behind me. My mind was racing, my pulse deafening in my ears. I couldn't make sense of it. Lauren's warnings, the mirror, the voicemails, none of it felt real.
That's when my phone buzzed. Another voicemail. "It's too late. He's already inside."